Welcome to today's episode, where we will focus on Domain 3, focusing on teaching and learning, specifically Strand 3.1 school-based review, contextualization, and implementation of learning standards for career Stage 1 school heads. As school leaders, one of the most important responsibilities is to ensure that learning standards are effectively reviewed, contextualized, and implemented within the school setting. This means that beyond simply following the curriculum, school heads must ensure that teaching is relevant, meaningful, and responsive to the needs of learners. In this discussion, we will break down the meaning of school-based review, contextualization, and implementation of learning standards, explore practical applications, and provide real-life examples of how new school heads can effectively lead this process. Understanding school-based review of learning standards. The school-based review of learning standards refers to a systematic examination of the curriculum and its effectiveness within the context of a specific school. Learning standards set by DepEd, such as the Most Essential Learning Competencies, MELCs, and the MATTAG curriculum, serve as guides for teachers, but they must be continuously evaluated to ensure they are aligned with the needs of learners, school resources, and community context. As a career Stage 1 school head, you are expected to demonstrate knowledge of department's learning standards and curriculum guidelines, Sub-K to 12 curriculum, MELCs, and the MATTAG curriculum. Ensure that teachers conduct regular assessments to determine whether students are meeting the expected competencies. Lead curriculum review sessions, where teachers reflect on challenges in lesson delivery, learning gaps, and needed improvements. Use data from classroom observations, student performance assessments, and feedback from teachers to determine whether the curriculum is being implemented effectively. Example in practice. A school head in a rural school might notice that students struggle with certain competencies due to lack of access to technology. Through a school-based review, they can recommend modifications, such as using localized and offline learning resources to ensure that students still meet the learning standards. By implementing and aligning curricular exit standards, grade level standards, content standards, performance standards, competencies, and learning objectives, the Philippine education system ensures that students receive high-quality instruction that equips them with the knowledge and skills they need for the future. For teachers and school heads, understanding and applying this framework effectively is key to fostering excellence in education and ensuring that every Filipino student achieves their full potential. The key end goal of the Department of Education. The Department of Education in the Philippines aims to provide quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete basic education that enables learners to become productive, responsible, and globally competitive citizens. The overarching goal is to develop holistically empowered individuals who possess 21st century skills, critical thinking, and values necessary for nation building. This goal aligns with the MATTAG curriculum and the K-12 basic education program, ensuring that Filipino learners achieve mastery of essential knowledge and skills through well-structured learning progression. To achieve this, the department establishes a hierarchical framework that guides curriculum implementation and assessment. This framework includes curricular exit standards, grade level standards, content standards, performance standards, competencies, and learning objectives. Each level of this hierarchy builds upon the previous one, ensuring a coherent and systematic learning process that supports students' lifelong success. Curricular exit standards, CES, the ultimate learning goals. At the highest level of the learning framework are the Curricular Exit Standards, CES, which define the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values that students should possess upon completing their basic education. The CES ensures that graduates are ready for 1. Higher education. Graduates should have foundational competencies to pursue academic degrees in colleges and universities. 2. Employment. Learners should acquire technical and vocational skills to join the workforce. 3. Entrepreneurship. Students should be equipped with financial literacy and business skills to start their own enterprises. 4. Middle-level skills development. The curriculum prepares students for skills-based careers aligned with industry needs. These standards are broad and serve as the end goal of the K-12 curriculum, ensuring that graduates are not only knowledgeable, but also capable of applying their learning in real-life situations. Then, we move on to the grade-level standards, defining expected outcomes per grade. Beneath the CES are the grade-level standards, which specify what students should achieve at each grade level. These standards provide a coherent learning progression, ensuring that knowledge and skills develop systematically as learners advance through different grades. For instance, in mathematics, a grade 1 student is expected to understand basic number concepts, while a grade 10 student should be able to apply algebraic and geometric principles in problem solving. Similarly, in English, early grades focus on basic literacy, while higher grades emphasize critical reading and writing skills. Each grade level standard is aligned with the CES, meaning that every grade's learning goals contribute to the broader objectives of preparing students for future academic and career pursuits. Content standards, identifying the essential knowledge and skills. Moving one step lower in the hierarchy, content standards define the essential knowledge, understanding, and skills that students must acquire in each learning area. These standards answer the question, what should students know and be able to do? For example, in science, a content standard for grade 7 might focus on understanding the structure and function of cells, while in Araling Panlipunan, a content standard may emphasize the significance of Philippine historical events. Content standards ensure that all learners receive consistent and high-quality instruction, regardless of their school or region, by outlining the core topics that should be covered in each subject. Performance standards, demonstrating mastery through application. While content standards define what students should learn, performance standards specify how students should demonstrate their learning. These standards outline the expected level of proficiency and encourage students to apply their knowledge in real-world contexts. For instance, in English, instead of simply learning grammar rules, students may be required to write a persuasive essay or deliver a public speech, demonstrating their mastery of communication skills. Similarly, in science, students might need to conduct experiments and present their findings, rather than just memorizing scientific facts. Performance standards promote higher-order thinking skills, problem-solving, and creativity, ensuring that learning is not just theoretical, but also practical and applicable in various situations. Competencies, breaking down skills into measurable learning targets. At a more detailed level, competencies refer to specific skills, abilities, and knowledge that students must develop within a given content standard. Competencies help teachers assess whether students are meeting the desired learning expectations. For example, in mathematics, a competency might state that students should be able to add and subtract fractions with different denominators. In Filipino, a competency could focus on analyzing the themes of a short story. Competencies serve as the basis for lesson planning, instructional materials, and assessments, ensuring that learning remains focused, measurable, and achievable. Learning objectives, setting immediate learning goals in lessons. At the most specific level of the hierarchy are learning objectives, which define what students should accomplish within a single lesson or activity. Objectives are short-term goals that guide teachers in structuring daily instruction. For instance, in a grade 5 science lesson, an objective might be, by the end of a lesson, students should be able to identify the different parts of a plant and describe their functions. This objective aligns with a broader competency on plant structures, which in turn contributes to a content standard on life sciences. Well-defined objectives ensure that lessons are focused and structured, helping both teachers and students stay on track toward achieving long-term learning goals. Contextualization of learning standards. Contextualization refers to modifying learning standards, teaching strategies, and instructional materials to make them more relevant and responsive to the specific needs, culture, and environment of the learners. The department encourages localized and indigenized instruction to enhance student engagement and understanding. As a school head, you must encourage teachers to integrate local culture, history, and real-life applications into lesson plans. Support the use of mother tongue instruction in early grade levels to ensure better comprehension. Collaborate with local stakeholders, including parents and community leaders, to enrich contextualized learning experiences. Facilitate the development of locally relevant learning materials that reflect the realities of the learners in a particular community. Example and practice. A school in an indigenous community can modify social studies lessons to include local history, traditions, and folk stories, making the subject more engaging and relatable for learners. Implementation of learning standards. Ensuring proper implementation of learning standards means that the intended curriculum is effectively delivered in classrooms. School heads are responsible for providing instructional leadership by guiding teachers on best practices in teaching and assessment, ensuring alignment between lesson plans, instructional strategies, and assessment tools with deep curriculum standards, conducting classroom observations to monitor and support teachers in implementing standards correctly, identifying challenges in curriculum implementation, and providing necessary interventions, such as teacher training, mentoring, or instructional support. Example and practice. A school head notices that grade 4 math teachers struggle with delivering lessons on fractions. The school leader organizes a mentoring session where experienced teachers share best practices and provide sample activities to improve instruction. The role of career stage 1 school heads in supporting teachers. At this stage, a school leader does not have to be an expert in every subject, but must have a strong understanding of the curriculum and teaching process to support teachers effectively. School heads should foster a collaborative culture where teachers can share challenges and solutions. Ensure continuous professional development through coaching, mentoring, and workshops. Encourage innovative teaching approaches that enhance student learning outcomes. Engage parents and the community in supporting students' education, ensuring that learning continues beyond the classroom. Example and practice. A school head partners with local farmers to teach science lessons on sustainable agriculture, making learning more interactive and community-based. Strand 3.1 highlights that effective school leaders must be proactive in reviewing, contextualizing, and implementing learning standards. By ensuring that the curriculum is adapted to the needs of students and that teachers are supported in delivering high-quality instruction, school heads play a vital role in improving student learning outcomes. 4 new school heads at Career Stage 1. Focusing on these responsibilities will help them become strong instructional leaders and create a school culture centered on excellence in teaching and learning. Understanding this hierarchy is crucial for teachers, school leaders, and policymakers, as it provides a clear roadmap for student progression from early childhood education to secondary schooling and beyond. Each level of this framework plays a specific role in ensuring continuity, coherence, and mastery of learning, from broad national goals to specific classroom objectives. By aligning teaching practices with these structured standards, educators can provide effective, relevant, and measurable learning experiences that prepare students for the demands of higher education, employment, and global citizenship. Remember all the key points for this session. Key points to review on the hierarchy of learning standards. 1. Curricular Exit Standards (CES) as the ultimate learning goals. The Curricular Exit Standards (CES) define what students should achieve after completing basic education, ensuring readiness for higher education, employment, entrepreneurship, and middle-level skills development. These standards provide a clear vision of the expected competencies of Filipino graduates, aligning with national and global workforce demands. 2. Grade level standards, content standards, and their role in learning progression. Grade level standards outline the expected learning outcomes for each grade, ensuring a sequential and developmental approach to education. Content standards, on the other hand, define essential knowledge, concepts, and skills that students must acquire within a subject area. These two elements work together to create a coherent and structured curriculum, preventing learning gaps across different grade levels. 3. Performance standards and competencies for skill application. Performance standards focus on how students should demonstrate their learning through real-world applications, such as writing essays, conducting experiments, or presenting projects. Competencies break down learning into measurable and specific skills, helping teachers assess student progress effectively. This ensures that education is practical, competency-based, and outcome-driven. 4. Learning objectives as the foundation of daily instruction. At the most detailed level, learning objectives guide daily lesson planning by setting immediate, measurable, and time-bound goals. These objectives ensure that each lesson contributes to broader competencies and standards, providing a structured approach to teaching and assessment. By following this hierarchical framework, educators can deliver systematic, high-quality instruction that equips students with essential skills for lifelong success. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we will explore Strand 3.2, Instructional Leadership, and discuss how school heads can further enhance teacher effectiveness in the classroom. Until then, continue leading with vision, commitment, and a passion for quality education.